So this is a replacement radio for my 2010 Hyundai Elantra. And I bought this on eBay for very little money. It was like $47 when it was all said and done, plus shipping. This one's in kind of rough shape. Obviously, it's been through hell and back. The good news is it's an identical match to the one that's in my car now. So I'll tell you what's happening. The radio in my car works great when it's warm outside. It has a classic cold solder joint problem somewhere in the unit. So I tried to fix it. I tore the unit apart and I baked the main board in an oven and put it back together again. Everything seemed to work okay for about a day or two. And then the problem actually came back, but much worse. To the point where now it'll turn on, it'll work fine, driving along, and then it just cuts out. And it can be out for several minutes. Now, I do a lot of driving. I probably spend a good 2.5 to 3 hours a day in my car. I need tunes, damn it. So it's very important to me to have a good working stereo. So what we're going to do now is we're going to test this out. We're going to put it in my car now and see how well it works. The thing is, I'm going to have to void the warranty seal because I need to pull the unit apart and put my faceplate on it. This faceplate is in kind of rough condition. Like I said, it's been through hell and back. I mean, this little chrome bar is chipped. Probably happened when the passenger this actually came from a junkyard. So it probably happened when like a passenger was in the back seat, and when the car was slammed into a bridge or something, the guy's head just went BAM right into the radio. Just my approximation of the events anyway. So somebody could have actually died in the car. That's the creepy thing about buying stuff from a junkyard. If you haven't actually seen the car the part came from, there's a very realistic possibility that somebody could have died in the vehicle that the part came out of. Imagine that. But anyway, so otherwise it's in pretty good shape. It's all there. It does have the XM module, like mine does, and you can tell because it has the XM antenna. Here's another little tip. The Elantra stereo mounts changed at some point during the production. What they did is, later models, they switched to a more modern antenna connection. And this is what the radio antenna connection looks like. No longer do they use the round connector with the center pin. Now they're using this funky little thing, and this is what the XM connector. This goes to the XM shark fin antenna, and this goes to the rear defroster area. Right above the rear defroster is where the FM antenna is located. But this radio it's kind of beat up, but not terrible. I mean, as long as the electronics are good, I don't care. I'm going to swap all the good parts out of this into my unit if I have to. I may even reuse my XM module, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so to remove the existing radio, you need a couple of very simple hand tools, and a plastic pry bar helps too. This is actually one that comes in an iPad repair kit. Pretty handy device. Oh, where am I going to put the camera? What we're going to do, I'm going to put it on the armrest here. So just so you know, this is a 2010 Elantra with about 77,000 miles on it. I drive a lot. So that's why the mileage is so damn high for such a car, such a new car. It's only 3 years old, 3.5. What we're going to do is we're going to gently pry. We're going to start at the top. No, let's do the bottom first. We're going to use this little tool here. There's plastic clips located behind this faceplate. Here, 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 and here. That's where the clips are located. And they just press in. Nothing fancy. One more thing I want to warn you about. The dash is made of a soft material. It can be ruined fairly easily, which is why it's important that you use plastic. Okay. Oops. That was not supposed to happen. You know what we're going to do? I'm going to take this towel here, and I'm going to put it against the dash, and I'm going to use a large flat blade screwdriver and stick it in there. These are pretty stubborn, I should mention that, these clips. If you're lucky, you won't break anything. Okay, that one popped out. Alright. Okay. I only want to do this once. I don't want to do this again. So I'm going to test the hell out of this radio before I call it good. Okay. There we go. Now we're almost there. We've got it loosened up on one side. I've already had this apart once, so I already know what I'm doing. I think I do. There we go. So that's the hard part right there. Next we got to do the top, and that's where the plastic wedge tool comes in handy. I may be able to... There we go. There we go. We're done. That was hard. I just used my hands. I worked around the unit. Now, this is kind of important. It's very easy to scratch the HVAC control bezel. It's painted with a very inexpensive aluminum look finish. So we're going to take this rag and tuck it around so that nothing scratches the surface. And then we're going to unplug the hazard indicator, like so. The next thing you've got going on here is the airbag indicator and the clock cable. We're just going to fold this behind as best we can to get it out of the way. And I'm going to have to rotate it. I don't want to unplug that right now, because they're both a pain in the ass to plug in and unplug. So I'm just going to try to get this out of my way without scratching anything. Like so. Now there's a couple of ways you can skin the cat here. Twist it around there and... See, this car was designed to be a pain in the ass to work on. I mean, really. So, oh boy. Well, I don't like it, but I may have to take drastic measures and unplug those damn cables. So, it's just a pain in the, you know what. The thing is, I couldn't successfully unplug the clock. That was being incredibly uncooperative, and I don't want to scratch my interior. So what am I to do? Oh. There is one thing that I found to be helpful, and that is to basically unscrew the clock unit. I just noticed a clip fell behind the damn dashboard, damn it. With a little coercion, I was able to get this unplugged. Sweet. Next, all we got to do is take out the deck. Okay, we're just about there. I did find the missing clip I had. It fell on the floor. Neat. Okay, So you see what I mean by protecting the HVAC controls. See how the brackets tend to dig into the buttons there? Well, with that rag in place, that won't happen. Now, this is where it gets kind of tricky, because we have to unplug everything while we're simultaneously holding the radio. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Alright, I'm going to raise the seat up to position myself a little better. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to first unplug my antennas by squeezing the little pitons, or tension clips if you must, down and pulling. Then I'm going to disconnect the power, speaker, and iPod dock connections. This radio is hot. I hope the replacement one isn't. Okay. Alright. I don't think anyone is out there stealing Hyundai radios, so that's probably a good thing. Alright. Got everything unplugged. Okay. So, with that done, our next task is to thoroughly, and I do mean thoroughly, test the new unit. If there's anything wrong with it, we'll probably find it now. And at that point, we're going to have to send it back for a replacement. So this is our main ground connection here. I did check a lot of things before I went this route. Mainly bad grounds, coffee grounds, things like that, you know, that cause radios not to work. And from what I've found, I even checked for relay issues. You know, the ignition relay possibly being flaky, and I tapped the radio, or the ignition relays, all of them, with a screwdriver lightly, and didn't find anything wrong with them either. So I checked the fuse block, everything seems tight, nothing wrong there. So I resorted to this. We're going to check the model number, make sure it's the right one. A200HDUX9Y, A200HDUX9K. So, well, there's a little difference there, but I'm sure it's the same unit. Should be fully compatible with each other. It better be. And you're probably wondering, well, why didn't you just go with an aftermarket radio? They're cheap and generally reliable. Well, this is true. One of the reasons I stuck with the factory radio is because it allows me to use my iPod dock, the one that's built into the car, and it fully integrates with every other system in the car. That actually that's not really true in this model, but it just to me it made more sense to go with a factory radio because, I mean, generally they're very reliable, but I mean, I just got a bad one apparently. You gotta figure it went through a lot of abuse, so you know, not all that. Alright, plug this all in. And besides, the factory radio is less likely to get stolen, oh boy, and more likely to be fully more likely to interface better with the factory wiring harness. So that's kind of my justification for it. And besides, I think it was $60 all inclusive. You can't get much better than that. So just hope this sucker works. That's going to be the deciding factor of whether this was worth my time or not. So we're going to just get it in its place. Take the rag out of there. Okay, so now the radio is in place. Now I've got to check all the systems to make sure they all work. I'm planning on reusing my CD player, my faceplate, and maybe even my XM module. So let's see what happens. Just going to do it self-check. Alright, turn it on. Seems to work okay.
Hosted. Please visit our website, unshackled.org.
Not bad. Let's check the XM module. If the XM module works, I'll leave it.
C Sports Radio, Channel 87.
XM works, and I never...
Only radio...
I deactivated my old one before I did the swap, so that way in case I didn't reuse it. Let's check the iPod dock. That seems to work okay. Power works. Tuning works. Nice. Random works. Okay. One more thing to check, and that's the CD. Okay. Ugh. So I've chosen this. It's a Walter Becker Donald Fagen demo album. If I lose it, it's okay. Okay. That's satisfactory. Oh, how about the lighting? Okay, it looks like the lighting all comes up. Okay, awesome. We've got a good unit. Alright. Next step, rip it out. And we're going to swap out a couple of components. I'm going to reuse my old CD player. Maybe even some of the old housing pieces. All the stuff that's in better shape on mine is going to go into this unit. So the first thing I want to do is try a non-destructive removal of just the faceplate itself. I mean, if I can do that without voiding the warranty on the unit, which is good for 30 days, I think I'd rather just do that. But more importantly, I want to try to reuse the existing faceplate circuit board just in case that is what's wrong with my old stereo. You see what I mean? Because, for example, if I swap out the entire faceplate assembly and that was exactly what the problem was, then I've wasted my time and money. But you never know. I mean, we don't know where the break in the circuit board was, or what circuit was really busted. These units are so tightly integrated that it's hard to tell without an actual schematic. And even if there is a schematic, it can often be misleading. So, because I don't have a degree in engineering, partly, I think that's pretty damn obvious. So what we're going to do is just try to remove the faceplate. Just take a look at how it's mounted. So, yeah. I think I can do that without cracking the case open. I'm going to crack the case open anyway, just because I need to. I'm going to take my old CD player. So, you're probably wondering, well, why are you going to be reusing your old CD player? The reason being is the CD player on my old radio was never really used. I mean, I only used it once or twice. So, I mean, if I have a brand new CD player on my old one, why not use it? You know, it's mine, it's paid for. I bought it with the car when it was brand new. It is a one-owner car, you know. So it looks like the faceplate comes off as a unit, which is interesting. Well, not really. So we're just going to go ahead and unplug this ribbon cable here. Okay. And we're going to take the board off of this old faceplate and put it on the newer one, which is my actual original radio. And we're going to take the CD player. That's going to come out. Now, I wonder if this is actually from a smoker's vehicle. And it definitely was. So this was a smoker's car. My God, was it ever. You know, whatever. I'm a non-smoker, but you know what? I don't crucify those who are, but I just wish they didn't smoke with my radio in their car. But yeah. You know what? Maybe the person who owned this radio died in the crash, and whatever. Anyway, at any rate, let's proceed with this repair. We're going to take this and put it aside. We're going to dismantle this old faceplate. Yeah, it smells like cigarette smoke, I tell you what. And we're going to just take all these little screws. Okay, so here is the faceplate board and display, and we're going to be reusing this. We're using it with our old faceplate, well, new faceplate. The old stereo is actually newer than the new one. It's really confusing, but that's how it worked out. So we're going to pop this all off just like we did that one and put it back together. Alright, so here's my old radio, the one that came with my car, and here's the new one. Identical system, about a year difference in age. This is the satellite radio module, and if I had activated my XM service, or had left it activated, I could pop this unit into this radio and it would pick up my old XM subscription. I had actually deactivated the radio, so that doesn't work anymore. The hardware ID of the radio is actually printed right on it. So 6NU592CR is an actual number you could give to the XM company, and they would be able to activate it. If anyone wants to buy me an early Christmas present, here is the radio ID for my new one. I'll try to get that focused. It's LHT B52CG. If you activate that for me, that'd be real sweet. Only kidding. But if I gave XM that number, I could activate the radio again. So this is what my board looked like after I had baked it. It didn't change anything. I must not have gotten it hot enough. I don't know. But so what we're going to do now is we're going to take the CD player from my old radio and put it into the new one. And why are we doing this? Because this CD player is practically brand new. I've only used it a handful of times, and it's actually a lot cleaner than the one that's been exposed to cigarette smoke. In fact, let's do a quick comparison here. I can see with my own eyes, but the camera may not pick up the details. But you can actually see dust on the gears and I think some slight discoloration, which indicates exposure to nicotine. And for a CD player, nicotine is a bad thing. A really bad thing. And not only that, but it made a lot of noise. It seemed excessively noisy for a CD player. So we're going to pop this in, put the cover on. I'm going to use my old cover. This is going to be a real cannibal job here. Alright, CD player is installed, top cover is installed, brackets are installed. I reused my old brackets because the new ones were bent to hell. They really were. Look at this. Yeah, not so fun. I could straighten it, but why take a chance? Alright. Let's get this sucker installed. Okay, here we go. Let's see if this worked. $77,139, that's my mileage. Alright. Find an XM radio. Okay. We're going to check XM.
As adult alternative artists in band.
LHT B52CG, this is the radio ID. Good.
New rock from Canadian artists.
And check my
Discover
lighting.
brand new and emerging French music discoveries from Canada through new
Everything
studio
seems to
releases
light up
and
okay.
live concert recordings
No
on
bulbs out
Influence Franco,
or LEDs.
Channel 174.
Check our XM radio. Okay, good. Set my tone settings. Check position. Rear, front, balance, right, left. Alright, I think this was a success. Didn't scratch the radio controls up too much. The cloth really helped protect the paint. I'm grateful for that. Let's see. A couple of scratches, but that was from the first time I did it, I think. But I can't really see them unless I look. Alright, now it's time to clean everything up and put it all back together again. Okay, now we got to do one more final test. We want to make sure that the airbag light goes out when the engine starts, because we have the passenger airbag indicator unplugged, and that can trip a fault code in the airbag module computer. I know it does that on Nissan vehicles. I'm not so sure about Hyundai's, so we're going to give it a try. The airbag light doesn't go out, and we have a problem. And it went out. The airbag light is now on. The clock is working. And we got tunes. Lining up is a little bit off. But there's really nothing we could have done about that. There's a little bit more gappage here now than there was before. I don't think there's a damn thing I can do about that. That could just be the brackets or something, who knows. I mean, it's actually lined up by pins, so I don't know how that could have gotten off. But I think we're good to go. FM works. AM never worked. You really can't get anything on AM with this radio. Unless the ignition's off. Watch this. Well, it may not be true. Yeah. It's probably the most useless AM radio I've ever seen in my life. Success. Almost 100%. Well, actually it is about 100%. Now I gotta set my clock. Dang it. Oh, we never checked the CD player. Let's do that. Get a CD in there. First I'm going to listen to the mechanism and see if it's really that much quieter than what was in the replacement radio when I put it in the first time. Yeah. Silent. Almost. See, that's why we put that CD player in, because I knew it was a good one. And that concludes our project. I can now ride with music. I don't know. I just noticed that the gap looks a little bigger. But I couldn't have done anything differently. I mean, everything lines up the way it lines up, period. So, I'll just get some Windex. I'll clean up the dashboard and head in for the